want to welcome you to the Ask Jeff YouTube channel. Here's today's question. I apologize in advance, but as the father of 2 teenage girls and a husband to a wonderful wife, I need help properly interpreting 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verses 34 through 35. Is this part of the law creeping in the New Testament, as the tail end of 34 indicates, or are women actually to remain silent in the church? Now, great question. A very controversial passage, because toward the end of what we know as 1 Corinthians, it does say there in verse 34 and 35 that the women were to be silent in the church. You back it up into verse 33 and it says God is not the author of confusion. That's critical here. Why? Because this comes after the concept of God doesn't want confusion, he wants clarity. But here's the key to this passage. I think one of the problems we often have in biblical studies is we take a verse, or in this case 2 verses, and we pull them out of their context and just make it a statement of faith that women, keep quiet, no talking, you're done. Well, in context, here's what's amazing. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, the entire chapter is about speaking in tongues. That's the whole chapter. Okay? It talks about how not to, how to navigate, regulate, how to monitor. I mean, it talks about how many can and how many can't, what it's to do, who could be in attendance. I mean, all kinds of, for lack of better terms, rules and regulations. It's the only spiritual gift that gets its only chapter because there were so many problems with it. Now, what does that have to do with the question? Well, I think what has to do with the question is everything. Is there was a struggle and a problem, obviously, with the gift of tongues. How many speak, who's in the audience when they speak, who interprets when they speak. And I think in the context of chapter 14, now listen, I don't know specifically who answered the question in regards to your wonderful wife, your words, and your beautiful daughters, your words. However, I think the context there is speaking in tongues, which means I think there's a biblical case that the gift of speaking in tongues would not be one that God would give to women. Now, I know there's a lot of people go, well, time out. I've seen or observed a lot of women speaking in tongues. Well, just because somebody does something doesn't mean they're doing it on behalf of the Lord. The Bible says in 1 John 4:1 to discern the spirits to see if they're of God and or not. And remember, the Bible gives us this entire chapter on this one gift that is so messed up in so many cases. So would it not get messed up in this? At the end of the day, I don't believe these 2 verses mean that when your wonderful wife and daughters arrive at church, they should zip their mouth and not say a word. I do believe, though, there's a biblical case that what we know is the gift of speaking in tongues would not be given to any woman in church, even your 3. So, great question. If you have one, send to AskJeff.net. Maybe your question be tomorrow's. Thank you so much for being a part of our daily question here at the Ask Jeff YouTube channel. I want to encourage you on a few things. Number one, if you have a question to ask, submit it to AskJeff.net. Eventually, we'll get around to your question. Secondly, we'd encourage you to subscribe. That way, each and every day, Monday through Friday, you get a reminder of our question of the day. And last but not least, I want to remind you that on Wednesday evenings, live at First Baptist Church of Opelika, FBCOpelika.com, we do a solid hour of Ask Jeff where we dig into the questions more than just 60 or 90 seconds. Sometimes we take the entire hour. All that being said, AskJeff.net is where you submit a question to this channel each and every day, Monday through Friday.